Hey guys, Winter Wolf here. Winter's Watch about to kick off. We're going to do it now. We got a lot to talk about. There he is. Hey guys, welcome back to Winter Wolf's Den. Thanks for coming back 2 days in a row again. We just bumped our Secret Invasion coverage yesterday, but today is, of course, Winter's Watch. I'm brought to you by nobody. We're looking for sponsorships. I know it's a lofty goal, but someday we'll get there. Dude, co-host King Z Supreme sitting right there, dude. What's going on, man?
What up? Welcome here on Thursday. Okay, I just want to make sure my mic was working. It is.
Yeah, I can. Unlike a week ago, I can hear you now because I've already pre-shut off the Bluetooth on my phone. So now the headphones are only coming through one way. So we should be good.
So I do want people to please ignore the crawl at the bottom. I forgot to update the crawl because I've been busy with work. But the number one movie was Mission Impossible for the crawl down there, and all the other stuff we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, it was actually we've got a little bit of a looser format. Guys might notice we only have 3 of the topics on the wing here tonight. We're actually going to go kind of with a couple of extra things in the bonus section down below that aren't listed. A couple of things kind of came up that I'm going to touch on. Ignore the crawl. I think we all knew Mission Impossible was probably going to clean up at the box office. Open moderately well, I would say, domestic, but then international kicked up a notch. It's already cruising towards making its 235 when we were talking yesterday, 245 mil for just the weekend itself. So it's off to a robust start. It didn't blow me quite away the way that I thought it was box office wise. We can definitely talk about the movie a bit. I don't know if you got out to it though. You said maybe Sunday, but then you didn't mention it, so I'm guessing you didn't.
No, we didn't get out to it.
Okay.
This weekend was jam packed with work stuff. I just gotta get done. This has been a very tough month. Let's just put it that way. Tough month.
Yeah.
And so I had to get out there and make a little extra dough doing what I do. So.
Cool. Then I'll, if you don't mind, when we get down to bonus, I'll just give my impressions on the movie. I know you're a big fan. King Z is definitely the MI guy in our dynamic duo here, so I'm not going to ruin the movie for him. I'm just going to hit some points to give him some signposts to go by as he's watching it. Maybe let him know when it's the best time to use the bathroom because that motherfucker was about 4.5 hours long. I shit you not, the runtime is 4 hours 45 minutes.
But we have an app for that.
I know.
It's called P-Break.
Can we get a sponsorship from pbreak.com? I'll wear the hat. I don't whatever pays the bills, man. But no, so I promise I won't blow the plot, beyond what there's in the trailer with, the AI stuff. Because I think you already knew all about that anyway. I won't blow any of the big villain reveals or any of the masks that come off, or we'll just keep it simple for that. I do want to mention the box office talk, just because, dude, I was rocking it, dude. And to my embarrassment, my eternal embarrassment, the music kicks in during the end credits, of course, right? But in my head, I go right to the Limp Bizkit Urban Assault Vehicle version. Bum, 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 bum. Like it gets all like hard rock, or hard rock Limp Bizkit. But I was humming along, and it's whatever. I enjoyed myself. So we got a couple of small topics that we're going to kind of maybe go in reverse order and then end talking on the Hollywood strikes. I mean, don't worry about doing the drop down today. We're going to do things a little out of order because I think the strike is probably going to be the big topic of the night for us because it has. I was talking to a friend earlier. It just has far-reaching implications that I don't think people are really understanding. And where you've worked in the industry to a degree on the ground, what some of these implications could be. So I want to give it its due time towards the end of the show. So maybe we do Snow White. That'll be quick. Aliens is quick. A couple other things, and then bonus section for whatever you wanted to go through. I know you wanted to talk a little Baldur's Gate tonight. Maybe a couple of other gaming updates like Starfield's looking like it's picking up some steam, coming in, up against the release and shit like that. Do you mind if I just kick off the Snow White talk? Because I see you already got the picture up and we're all lined up.
There we go.
Dude, nice. So a lot of you guys know Winter Wolf is not the biggest fan of Disney. Right? Dude, you wish they had that song. They're not gonna. I'm here to break you the bad news. I haven't heard anything official that they canceled the music like Mulan or anything like that. But I guarantee you they don't. That there's no way that this Snow White and these 7 very politically correct, diverse, and checkbox cast of dwarves all have jobs.
Well, they're not dwarves. They're magical creatures.
Now update. I've heard they're not even that, even after we had the picture. One of the stories that I was going to add to the mix today for the Snow White talk, just beyond its idiocy of pandering to some imaginary audience that eats this kind of forced idiot diversity upon the cast, that just completely whitewashes the actual story, not just whitewash it, but it completely spackles over the story as it is. You know what I mean? So the story today is that the updated version of the dwarves is they're not dwarves, is that they're bandits. If I was reading these articles correct, it's Snow White and the Seven Bandits. The title's still Snow White, but they're bandits. So I'm like, so you picked a diverse group of people 3 years after 2020, 3 years after like rioting and smashing in storefronts and like flash robbing and shit, and they're bandits? Are you people kidding? Like, serious question, dude. If Kingsley and Mrs. Kingsley had 3 kids, what are the odds you drag 3 kids for $100 to the movies to see this, even before I just told you that they're bandits and not dwarves for reasons? What are the odds?
I probably wouldn't go see it. I think the animated version would be a lot better. Which,
dude, seriously, God, because I can't.
Yeah, I was here trying to read, like, a lot of people were going after Peter Dinklage.
And they should.
As he was the one that he was saying that we shouldn't be calling people dwarfs and we're going backwards if we're going dwarfs because, well, he's a little person.
He's the king of little persons, apparently, because he gets to make his millions on Game of Thrones, being a very well-written human character afflicted with dwarfism, I might add. The dwarves of the Grimm brothers story were not humans afflicted with dwarfism. They're very much the fantasy race inspired by millions of cultures across the planet, not the least withstanding, certain traditions out of like, Ireland and England and older Norse mythology and things like that. Those weren't human beings afflicted with a condition. They were mythological beings. So they should not be subject to this nonsense. Mr. Dinklage, you dick.
And if you really look at it, they are more gnomes than anything, based
right.
on their attire, their work ethic,
their behavior,
and the way they congregate together. They're more gnomes than they were dwarves. So they did change it to Snow White and 7 gnomes.
Dude, they could have changed it to whatever they wanted, but you gotta love this dickhead. And I liked him on the show. We all know. Everybody loved Tyrion Lannister on the show. Early seasons, he was one of the best written characters on the damn thing. But this guy gets famous making his effing money being that character, and then talks out of hand about casting little people to play dwarves in a thing is bad. It's not progressive. He pulled up the ladder, all 2 rungs of it. He pulled up the ladder behind him and took jobs away from people that could have been cast in a Disney production that, for all intents and purposes, had it not been obliterated by some other stunt casting, it could have been a known thing that elevated people's careers.
I mean,
right?
Is he against the Lollipop Jam?
I mean, well, do they even remember that story? Probably. They would probably tell. See, you can't make these guys happy. You could cast them, but that's not good enough because now it's not progressive. But if they hired guys like us that are on the 6-foot mark and shaped us down Lord of the Rings style, via camera tricks and VFX and everything, they bitch about that it wasn't authentic. Like, we literally can't make this segment of critics of this side of the, it's kind of a political aisle because I don't know specifically where he leans day to day, but I'm sure it's one way and not the other. Like they're not happy. But that brings us into just the core of the movie here, right? So they first expect me to believe that the actress they cast to be Snow White is more attractive than Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Dude, the Mirror got that one wrong. Sorry, guys. I mean, she may very well be the most beautiful woman alive. It's possible. It's possible. Just saying, right? So we got that from jump, right? They're not 7 dwarves anymore. They're 7 bandits or something. And we literally went down like the skin color list from like the character creation model within the game and picked one of everything. They've eliminated, from what I've been told about the movie, they've eliminated or reduced the Prince Charming character altogether. I think that's the dickhead. I don't know if we can blow up the picture if it would throw our temple out of whack. But I thought I had one that had a guy dressed in all blue with this group of people. That might have been in one I didn't send. There was one where they were I think it was in the one where they were marching in a line. Never mind. I don't think I sent you that one. But there was an image with a normally heighted guy with a doofy haircut right out of like the Willow series, who I'm told is the Prince Charming character, whose role is he's just there. Like, this isn't a true love's kiss situation to undo the evil magic, right? So they got that going for him. That's not there, right? Snow White's motivation: be a leader, be a girl boss. It's stated in their, like, in their synopsis, in their blurb, that there's more to life than loving people. There's more to life than finding your perfect person. It's all about her leading people, leading whatever. Like, didn't they make that movie live action? Wasn't that Snow White and the Huntsman? Didn't that suck? Like, didn't we try this already?
Well, that also had what's her name in it. That is just a bad actress as well.
That would be Kristen Stewart.
Yeah,
Kristen
that's her.
You just call
I,
it Twilight chick. It's
I
still. I mean, I guess she's okay in other things, but not here.
no, she's really
She's
not.
not.
Uh, you could
That
direct
underwater
her.
movie's pretty good. I heard. I don't know.
You can
Just throwing that out there.
you could direct her making one of two faces.
No, yeah, that's good point. So
I
I like. I don't. I don't get this Disney thing at all. My gut tells me this does, after the underperformance, because I won't call it a total bomb. The Little Mermaid. Like, I think it made back its production budget, but didn't make back its marketing budget. So it's not a total, like, atomic bomb. It just didn't live up. It's not in the same category as indie by any measure, right? I think this movie goes to Disney Plus. I don't think in today's political climate, where there's certain pushback on certain pieces of political agenda and messaging, I don't think they're going to put this front and center. I think this gets the Hook the Peter and Wendy treatment that just came out a month ago, because it seems very similar in tone and makeup and just generally what their intentions are here.
I don't see this going any further, especially with what we're going to talk about later. This is getting too much kickback. They've been getting kickback, and then especially with was it Igar?
Bob Iger, president of Disney. Yep.
With
CEO.
with his recent statements and like how he been saying here lately, I think there's gonna be way too much kickback, and he's gonna have to lay low for a little while.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think we'll get into the strike talk, like you said, but I think in a situation where the theaters are going to be starved for new crap to get people out there, I think they have to know, given the performance of some of their recent live action stuff, that there's no sense in putting this in theater, because it's not putting asses in seats. Like, it's just not going to. But it may draw some traffic to Disney Plus if I already had it. Like, it may put some watch minutes there. If they release, I don't even know when this is scheduled to release. I'm not sure if it's end of summer, if kids are back in school. I didn't get that far into it, or if there's even been an announcement to that end yet. But dude, I just from jump, they announced their casting. We hear all the time that representation matters, and of course it does. But our official policy on the Winter Wolfson has always been, then go to that culture and get me that story and tell it authentically, with a writer that lived the tradition, with performers that understand the story, and go. There's a big world of 8 billion people out there. It has stories yet untapped. We did not need to hire this actress for this role to squeeze in representation into a different culture story.
Yeah, and I
We
talked
didn't
about
need to
this
do it.
last week too. It's like with your forced diversity that you're forcing, you're pretty much saying that you have to fix that they don't have stories of their own when they do have stories of their own, and that their stories don't matter. Only our stories matter, but we're going to put you in it as an act of charity. Like, you're not worthy of your own stories. You're not worthy of your own heroes. You can take some of ours because we feel bad that you don't have any, even though that they do.
Right, which is absurd.
We just keep hiding it from them. I mean, people who were brought over here by force, if they trace their ancestral line, like normal people today, can trace their lineage back to the force people over here, but they can't go any further because they don't know where they came from. But there's still stories out there,
of course,
and
the culture persists,
and they can get them within a general area, but it's like they want to keep forcing stories. One of them they actually tried and they got it wrong. There's one that's called The Woman King, where she's an African woman. They got the story wrong. They didn't go with history. She was a woman king, and she was fighting for one of the tribes, but she was
But
fighting on the side of the Dutch.
yeah.
They're,
Who did what now? Remind me. What were they responsible for, King Z?
they were responsible for the slave trade. They're the
Ding,
they're
ding,
the
ding,
reason
ding,
why
ding,
we
ding,
have
ding.
slaves in North America at the time was the Dutch, and that's the side they fought on because they were paying them in iron goods for the slaves of the tribes that they were conquering. So
Right.
you're here rooting literally for slavery, but all you saw was them fighting the white men, which were the French in this, who were there to stop the slave trade at the time.
It couldn't be that move, and we didn't. I don't think we didn't have a concept for this show, so that didn't come up for us when that came out because I think that was like last winter. But dude, you're dead on accurate on that. They actually tried to get outside the Eurocentric sandbox that they usually live in Hollywood, not Netflix doing these like fake historical biopics. And we're not going to talk about the Jada Pinkett Cleopatra debacle because that shit's too funny and writes itself. But it's the same motif. They actually tried to get one of these stories and they screwed it up. And what did they and when it bombed, what did we get? Well, it's your fault it bombed, King Z. You didn't take your fair-skinned wife to go see this shit to support a girl boss in a movie that was backwards. Was backwards. You got it wrong. And you fuckers actually tried to pass. That's the best part, just like the Cleopatra thing. They didn't say they were telling the story with any that they were taking artistic license. They tried to pass that off as basically a biographical accounting of that tribe, of that situation, and that person. Ridiculous, dude. I hope Snow White bombs regardless of whatever format it gets on. I hope they take a bath on it. I'm sure the budget is probably north of 200 mil. Maybe while I'm just gabbing at the mic, you can run a little wiki check and get me that number. I don't know if you're equipped to do that real quick. It's usually right over there in that right-hand side. But I think all Disney knows how to make lately are these, $200 million, $250 million. That's production budget. That's not marketing. And that doesn't account for if it goes theatrical. China keeps its cut. The box office keeps its cut. They don't take all the money that you hear about, on our crawler at the bottom of the screen home. Like that's not what Disney earns on the project. That's not how the financials of that work. But
Yeah,
I mean, you and I,
that's just box office take. Now,
right? We talk about that all the time.
And you know who gets a shaft in that is actually the theater. You know how much they make on so an IMAX ticket for Oppenheimer is $25. That's for the IMAX. One of the guys I worked with, he was trying to get 2 tickets, and it was $55 with a convenience fee for 2 tickets.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you know how much the theater gets of that?
$3.
Actually, it's $1 per ticket.
And that's why your popcorn is $17.
There you go. You hit it on the head there.
So, but even if they're only keeping $1 out of it, they're still not getting. They're not the studio. Their hall isn't all the money that's cashed in there. That there are distribution rights that need to be accounted for. There's all kinds of financing that goes into it, interest payments, all kinds of stuff that needs to be paid back. I mean, the box office take is not pure profit. Is the economic lesson that too many people, when they want to tell me what an overwhelming success Indiana Jones is right now because it finally hit 300 million. There's articles out there on Variety right now that are talking about Indiana Jones hit the break-even point because it hit 302 mil. And I'm like, nope, not close. Not close. It's not even at the halfway point. But that's people just don't understand the economics that are involved that go into these multi-$100 million projects. You got a number for me?
I am not finding a budget numbers are released yet.
All right. I will take. Let me throw down a quick peek of that there, because I think it bears saying because there's only so many of these hits that they're going to be able to take, and I think this is probably close to the end of the line. Where is Snow White film? Hold on, I'm going to boomer this up right quick. Coming. Oh, so it's 2024. Unspecified date. Oh, screenplay by the chick that wrote Barbie. Shocking. Wonder how that's going to go because we're going to talk about that. So it's supposed to be March 22nd next year, and you're right. The wiki does not have a number up there yet.
Yeah, nothing in Google's popping up either.
All right, no worries. But it's at least 100 mil. We can agree on that. That would be low for a movie in 2023. It's a live action thing that's likely going to have big CGI because it's Disney. So let's be friendly and call it 200 mil.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
it's gonna need minimum $500 million to do its break even point. That's how it all works. I don't see this happening for Snow White. I think they made every wrong choice they could have made. I think they made.
Well, it's not going to get my money, and I think it's taken enough of my time. So let's go ahead and move on to something I actually might want to talk about. And let's talk about some aliens.
Yeah, let's talk aliens. So the reason, let me get some background on King Z first. I'm gonna put you on the spot. All right. Are Prometheus and Covenant canon?
It is now.
Okay, I hate that answer, but yeah, that's true. Your favorite alien movie is? There's only one right answer.
Aliens, the second one.
Correct. Exactly. But we can all agree that Alien, the original, is of course a classic and almost a perfect piece of screenwriting. That's just a reality. Okay. Having brought Kingsley up to speed, right? We have not only a new series coming by the writer / producer of Fargo, Noah Hawley, right? He's tapped to do a series that's going to take place in a near future Earth, which is like a xenomorph on Earth nesting situation, quarantine zone, like kind of lifted from some of the novels, is my understanding. So that's its own thing. But the prime timeline in films is also getting a new movie, tentatively titled Romulus. And that's coming out. And that's coming out, I believe, August of this year or September. Like it's around the corner.
Next year.
Is it 24? Are you sure?
Yes, because they're not even done filming yet.
Okay, all right. So I was my info a little off on that then.
And this project was pitched years ago. Romulus was patched years ago to Riley Scott himself, the creator of Aliens, which the first Alien was filmed in 1979, just in case you guys didn't know. This one was pitched by a person who has a history in horror, because he redid Sam Raimi's Evil Dead here recently in 2013.
That's Fede Alvarez, right?
Yep, Fede Alvarez. I think this could be pretty good because of he is a good pedigree of director, and he's a huge fan of the series, and he's a huge fan of the source material. So I think he could actually make a good movie. Now the other two, I didn't care much for the second one. I thought it was way too much a Michael Fassbender. Like they paid way too much into his cyborg character.
You're talking about Prometheus and Covenant.
Covenant.
Okay.
Yeah, Covenant. I didn't like that.
The second of those two.
Prometheus, I actually liked. I kind of liked the premise of that, of like where it all came from, seeing what the whole purpose of it was. Because if you trace it down, like if you go back to Alien, it was all about getting super weapons. Was it industrial complex, wanting to get super space weapons to conquer other colonies and be the premier power in space. And that's where the alien came from. But if you take it back to Prometheus, the alien was actually created to destroy mankind.
Right.
Because we are the rejected descendants of
we're the Davids, right?
Yeah. That they wanted to get rid of, and now they were trying to find a way to destroy them, and that's where the whole xenophobe came from, with a crossbreed of another, like you saw, like where it started to mutate.
Whatever native predator was around could be bred up into a proto alien, and something more dangerous. Dude, I like Prometheus on a story level, but damn, if we go back and do like a retro review, like a rewatch, there's a lot of dumb shit that happens in that movie, like the spaceship that falls on Charlize Theron as she's running away. Like, if she just corrects her run path by 2 degrees either way, the thing doesn't pancake her. Like a team of crack scientists arrive at a planet, they take their helmets off. All right, I mean that.
Well, they did run tests when they landed that it was breathable air.
Did they? All right.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't. It was in Covenant. My bad. That was one of my Covenant gripes. They didn't do the fucking test. And they're like,
because what's his name? Ebba, when he landed, he was going through it's like the atmosphere is coming back Earth-like. Like he was even like kind of shocked that it was coming back. That it was like Earth-like.
I have my movies mixed up. You saved me on that one. But there are a couple other things. But the story wise and the back lore I thought was kind of cool. The body horror elements when they showed up were pretty good. With the machine and the section thing was great. That was pretty boss. But see, even then I'm like, the machine only has a setting for male or female, not both, or one or the. There was something weird with it at the time, and I was like, all right, I guess I gotta let that slide. But just about the movie coming up, right? Because this is the point I wanted to make. This is the point I wanted to ask you about, actually. So I agree about the director. I think the guy's pedigree is straight. He's a fan of the source and he's a fan of genre. That's the person I want doing the movie. I don't just want someone that did a short film. You know, if it's an indie filmmaker that's done a 12-minute mockumentary on Night of the Living Dead, that person's not necessarily qualified to do feature-length sci-fi body horror, space horror, whatever.
Unless it's
you
me.
can take,
You can hire me. I'm ready to go. You can go check out my. You can check out my short films on YouTube. Go ahead and hire me. I'm ready to do feature length.
There it is. So we could take a chance on somebody like you. But having said that, we can't move much farther away from somebody with your minimal background in doing those things. I love your background, but in terms of features, you haven't broken into features yet. We're going to get you there. But if you did a 12-minute rom-com or something, I'd be like, dude, why? What makes you think you can do this? So I'm okay with Alvarez getting this job. I think that's going to be good. Here's the rub for this movie, though. And the comparison it's being made to the Predator movie that came out a year or two ago. You remember Prey came straight to Hulu?
Yeah.
It was the Native American
I never
girl.
watched it.
Dude, not a bad watch. I'd tell you to go back and watch that.
Okay.
And from me, if I'm telling you, you're like, oh, okay, he usually shits on things. It's up. It's got some cheese effects in places where the CG really shows some low budgety, but the story's good. The lead actress is really likable. The Predator's got a funky, like Neolithic design where it looks old, like more primitive. Like it's not quite what we've seen before with the Predator, so it's a little different. But that went straight to Hulu, but it definitely had big budget, behind it. The performances were big budget. It looked like it could have been in theater. Alien Romulus is coming to theater, dude. It's not going straight to streaming.
No, it's not. It was actually originally was supposed to go originally streaming, but then it got greenlit for a theatrical release with the merger of Fox Disney.
See, this is wild to me because I think they're overplaying their hand. I don't think that even with the creative team behind this movie, that going big screen is the play here. Like, let's look at the track record. Covenant was a bomb, like atomic. Prometheus, mixed results, middling box office success, nothing major. And then to get to an Alien movie that didn't involve a Predator in it, you've got to go back how many years to get to the garbage that was AVP Requiem. AVP, which had its moments, but it was like a WWE match, right? It was like Freddie Jason. Had its moments, was kind of fun. But Requiem was garbage. And then even before that, you've got Resurrection and Alien 3. Where's the track record of success that screams, put me on the big screen?
But it does have, because of Alien and Aliens, it has that fan base. It has that track record of it could be good. Like Prometheus even did really good, even though they kept saying it wasn't an Alien prequel, and it really turned out to be. And then, but then
stick around for that last scene.
Yeah. But overall, it does have, when you bring in a good pedigree that has good parts. I mean, Aliens is probably one of the greatest sci-fi military films out there. Sigourney Weaver was outstanding in the lead role. No one could hold a torch to who she was. And that was one thing they talked about this one, that Sigourney Weaver probably will not be making a cameo in this, which is good because they'll have to de-age her, and she didn't see the first Alien until Alien. So, I mean, it would be kind of dumb. It would destroy the first two if they put her in this one, which is supposed to take place before Alien.
Yeah.
If what I read is right. I mean, they were being a lot locked down on what the story is, but from what I'm taking in from the stories I've read, that it's supposed to take place before Aliens. So yeah, putting Sigourney Weaver in it would have been a bad idea, but I do believe it could have a theatrical release. And what we're going to talk about in our next topic is another reason why it needs to be a theatrical release.
Ooh, that's an interesting tie-in. I didn't even think that far ahead, because in my head, I'm still very much caught up on like it's not a rebuttal to the point that you just made about the built-in fan base like us, where we'd love 1 and 2. Some people tolerate the Prison Planet thing on 3. I mean, there's a good performances there by Charles S. Dutton, and Jason Isaacs is the prison medic. Sigourney Weaver's performance in it was fine. Like, she sacrifices herself at the end, throwing herself into the molten lead. Some of the creature effects are kind of dope, but for whatever reason, it just didn't stick. I think a lot of that had to do with people hating that they did Newt and Hicks off screen in between movies. Like, they didn't survive the drop pod crashing onto the prison planet thing. I think a lot of people that rub them the wrong way. You can count me in on them. But there's been a lot of crap there. And for me, dude, I love the Aliens movie so much for so many reasons. Like you said, everything about the sci-fi and the military, the action and the adventure, it's S tier. All of those things are S tier. But one of the things you and I cite a lot when we talk about things like strong female characters and diverse cast, look at the fucking squad. Look at the squad.
Yeah.
Look at the squad. It's every checkbox. But when you see this movie, you don't care because they're a unit.
And that's how it should
Right,
be.
man.
You should
And that's how
you
good things
shouldn't
are written.
care who's there. You should be looking at how they act. It's the whole mind frame of if you force it, then people are going to pay attention to it. If you let it happen, it's going to happen. I mean, look at the military. The military has been a social project since its inception, where they just keep trying all these social things. Like the first diverse group was the United States military, where we had black units and white units before before they even freed the slaves. Before the first person to get rid of segregation, the United States military. First person to allow women in combat roles, United States military. I mean, you should always go back to the U.S. military, and they test it there first before they start doing wide scale things. And this is a perfect example of it, with them showering together, fighting together, different roles, different aspects. And you have to think, this was originally filmed in 1979 and 1980, and it portrayed perfectly of what the United States military actually is, because the only color we care about is blue and red. Blue force is friends, red force is bad. If you shoot the same direction I am, you cool, man.
We're allies. Yep. Dude, and that's the thing that people cite about loving this. One of the things people love most about this movie is the absolute camaraderie that this unit has, even between Hicks and Vasquez bickering, where he gets it with the all-time joke, and she burns him. You ever been mistaken for a man? And she's like, no, if you. Like, dude, the minute they throw that line out there and she high-fives Drake right behind you, you're like, dude, fuck yes. This is what I'm talking about. Dude, they have a female pilot running the dropship, Pharaoh, female pilot, way ahead of its time. Right?
Female warrant officer Sigourney Weaver.
This is what I'm talking about. Female warrant officer Sigourney Weaver. Dude, Sergeant Abe Hone. Dude, person of color in a command role. Nobody cared. Dude, I bawled out as a kid when Abe Hone didn't make it out. You know what I mean? Like there was something there for everybody, but everybody was equally great and build each other up. Dude, when the shit hit the fan in that movie, right? And Hudson's having his breakdown, and him and Vasquez have to go like weld the door shut. Dude, they work together, and she's got to pat him on the fucking shoulder to rise him up. And I'm like, dude, yes, this is what I'm talking about. You know, they make that same scene today. She dresses him down, bitches him out. There's no back and forth. You know what I mean? She saves Gorman. Jesus Christ, that's peak Vasquez badassery. Like taking a leg wound and still not and refusing to quit. Yeah. But they keep telling us, no, we don't like it. We don't like diversity and shit. We don't like strong female characters. This movie had like 5 of them. Like, or maybe not 5 because it's, it was a limited cast. You know what I mean? Do we have the collage? Dude, I'm going to make the collage, and that's going to be our new backdrop.
Well, and you had the Queen.
This weekend. Then you get the Queen. Dude, you know who we're putting on the badass female character backdrop this weekend? Because I totally overlook them all the time. Dude, Aeon Flux and Ultraviolet.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to put them right next to Kate Beckinsale from Underworld.
Well, I
just keep thinking of more.
Oh, what's the actress's name who was in Aeon Flux?
I can never remember because I always remember Charlize Theron was Ultraviolet.
Yeah.
I can never remember the other one.
She was also in the Resident Evil.
Oh, was it Mila Jovovich?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was Aeon Flux. That's right. Dude, great call. There you go. There's another one. We can throw her on there too. I have her for Fifth Element. But
yeah, Fifth Element as well.
Right. But dude, that's dude. And Aliens wraps all of that stuff. That the movie Aliens, not our topic movie, guys. And that wraps it up so well, dude. Was anybody weirded out when Hicks taught Ripley how to use the machine gun and the flamethrower? Was that the patriarchy at work, or was he just teaching a willing hand who wanted to protect herself and join the fight? Because that was my read, and the skill fucking paid off. You know, there's so much good shit there.
But that's how it would be if no matter who it was,
right?
Because if you've never operated a crew serve weapon or a weapon before, a instructor of expertise will come and show you how to use it. I don't care.
So you don't kill everyone, right? dude, they like it also reminds me of the scene where, you know, they're gearing up to go, the loader scene. And you know, she rolls on Hicks and Apone. She's like, "Hey, is there anything I can do to help?" And Apone goes, "I don't know. How can you help?" And she's like, "I can drive the loader. I got a class 2 rating." And she picks up the fucking the missile or whatever. And she's like, "Where do you want it?" And he's like, "Bay 12, please." It's a classic meme.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's how it's done. That's how you display the competence in the female characters, that she had the skill set that you know she had, because it was set up that the only job she could get after Alien was working on the docks because she got busted down, lost her pilot's license. You know how she didn't best Apone and Hicks in a firefight, in an arm wrestling match, because that would have been fucking dumb in 2023.
Yeah.
But in 1986, with good writers doing shit, it comes out so clearly, dude. It comes out so clearly. So hopefully when Romulus comes through with the director behind it, I'd like to see a novel story. I'd like them to touch on some new ground, but I'd like them to stay consistent with aspects of the lore we have. If it's a prequel, how do you think they pull that off? Because I thought our first contact was Alien on the derelict ship with the original crew of the Nostromo. So how do they pull off prequel stuff here?
Well,
I think the series is the prequel. I didn't know that about the movie.
Well, Prometheus was prequel. Covenant was prequel. I think it will be the in-between movie. Like, this is the one that's going to set the xenomorph off, and they're going to get because remember, they were told that there was something on this that was of great military value. That's probably how they're going to get it, and then it's going to lead into Alien. That's my belief. This is the Zach Kane writing.
Dude, that's solid thinking, because in my head I'm like, right, Prometheus and Covenant are prequels, in the way Covenant gets away with existing is everybody died, and so nobody was there to report back that xenomorphs existed anywhere.
Yeah.
So if this movie Romulus drops down onto that same planet somehow, actually, I don't remember, how did Covenant end? We're led to believe David lived, right? And he was leaving with Xenos, I thought. Because there was like a stinger, it was kind of like a stingery kind of thing where David fought himself. You know, good David fought bad David, but there was like, one had like the injury and the other one had it covered or something. And then you think the good one won the battle, but then they make you think that he didn't, and everybody else is going into stasis at the end.
Yeah.
I thought that's how that went down. So bad David's alive with Xeno. So I mean, I guess that's probably the setup somehow. Is maybe they come across that, and then they loop into Alien at the end of their movie. Like, they set up the ship that gets discovered. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lot to talk about with that, dude. So, dude, I'm bummed that it's next September, though, man. That sucks. I really thought that was this year.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. I hit the wrong button.
But feel free to like and subscribe if you want to, join the discussion ongoing and chit chat below. If you're interested in Alien movies or series, I'm giving it a chance. If it's a straight up Alien movie and it goes theater, if it comes out in September, that's usually a pretty down month for movies. I could part with $15 to go check that out.
Yeah, it could be fun. We'll
it's
see.
in my wheelhouse. Yeah, dude, true that. Let's save the writer's strike for a little while longer and get down into the bonus, because I think did you have a couple of things you wanted to throw down?
Well, in the bonus, I was just I threw out that we should talk a little bit about Baldur's Gate, as it's a huge release, which is a IP that's set in the D&D world of Forgotten Realms.
Forgotten Realms, yep.
With Sword Coast, Neverwinter, Baldur's Gate, which you could reference in Honor Amongst Thieves, which is the D&D movie. The D&D movie they actually got right, that nobody's wanted to go see, which was sad. But it's on Paramount Plus, so go check it out.
And check out our review after you watch it. Yeah. And then check out our review after you watch it.
Because it's a D&D movie done right. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3, it's been in pre-release for like 4 years now, and now they're finally doing the full release of the game, which is, I mean, most people have already beat the story in the pre-release, but whatever. I don't understand pre-release and post-release and all this, but it's saying that it's going to have like 1,500 minutes of cutscenes.
Whoa. Do the math for me. What's 1,500 divided by 60? Because that's like 3 movies.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like 6 movies, actually.
They're saying that it's going to require, to beat the entire game, of like everything that's in it, like hundreds of hours, just hundreds and hundreds of hours. I forgot the exact number. I read the article a couple days ago, and
Had a stroke.
I was like, man. But the good thing, unlike what else is coming out in September, the not Star Citizen, what's the other one?
Starfield is the one I'm looking forward to.
Starfield. This one will actually has a co-op of up to a
Oh,
4-player co-op
right.
where you can play together. Unlike Starfield, where it's a complete solo game.
Dude, you almost nearly completely deflated my interest when you told me that, because I was like, dude, you and me, we're gonna get my brother, we're gonna play this, we're gonna get your brother, we're gonna start a squad. This, you're like, single player only, bro. And I'm like, no, it's got couch co-op, it's got local. No, single player, bro.
Yep.
Yo, but I'm doing it, and this is the thing. Starfield's gonna be the one where it's sucking me in with the pre-release, like the not representative of gameplay footage that always ends up in their ads. And I'm like, dude, there's like a 16K resolution starship like weaving through buildings and shit. And I'm like, it ain't looking like that when I get it. But dude, I want in. It has everything I want in like that kind of game with like ship-to-ship combat, boots on the ground, resource gathering, side quests,
building bases,
base building. Dude, I know, but I gotta play by myself. Why?
Yeah.
Why is this a thing? Like, you a-holes. I can't believe this is happening. But you know, it's whatever. It's free on Game Pass. I think that's all I can say.
It's free day one.
Yep.
The other
so
big thing,
that means it'll probably have early download too. Then you probably get it all out of the way.
The night before you could download it, so on day one you can play. Other big news is that Xbox, with the acquisition of Activision, said that they are going to be able to allow Call of Duty to go cross-platform and not just be PC, Xbox. Unlike
the older ones. You're talking about the older ones, right?
No, all of them, even future
cross-platform right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that they're sticking to it. I got you. My bad.
They're still going to allow it to be cross-platform, because they would lose out on billions of dollars.
Dude, it's stupid play if they did that. Did you see the other Call of Duty related stuff going on right now? That they did a massive server overhaul on original Modern Warfare 2, original Modern Warfare 3, and original Black Ops. And apparently, because my brother did a player count for me earlier, they got like 5, 6, 7,000 people that were playing peak time for all of those console games, available now at the Xbox store for like $15 a piece. And the thinking there is, you buy the one you want, but the rumor is that these older titles are probably going to Game Pass for free. Dude, I could play some old CODs if the servers are stable. I got no problem with that.
Yeah. Back before cheats and ruin the game for everybody.
On PC, no, we still have to see how that contends on console, because hacks are still possible.
Yeah,
there is a minor degree of hacking in even in the old 6v6. That was the thing, but who knows? It could be fun just to go, trip down memory lane in some of them older games. I was hearing that because those games didn't have as strict skill-based matchmaking, that people jumping on were getting into games and like modes really quick and having an effing blast because they didn't have to get saddled with ping not being king. I don't have to be forced to play on Thailand servers because my skill level is here for the area I live in, but the average skill is, slightly lower than mine. So I have to get shot all the way to like China to get a fair game for everybody else playing, even though it makes me play at a suckier level, which kind of just blows. So I was disappointed with that. But yeah, dude, I might be up for some Baldur's Gate. You'll have to keep me posted on that and what the how it's going to break down and what the possibilities for co-op are and teaming and things like that.
Yeah, and I believe its release date is right around the corner here. Like, I think August 3rd is the release, the official release date of Baldur's Gate 3.
Dude, when you get back from vacation, give me a shout then, because I'll see what the rest of the guys are up to, and maybe they might be in for something besides a first-person shooter for a change. That could be kind of cool. So I have one for the bonus also that I just remembered, because I think you'll get a kick out of this also. Sound of Freedom crosses 100 million.
I was about to bring that up. It crossed 100 million.
You do your thing, and then I have one more after that, and then we can talk Writer's Strike before we get out of here. If you want to talk about Sound of Freedom and its ongoing success.
Yeah, on a $15 million budget is about to cross it crossed 100 million. It's 100.9 million as of right now. It's brought in 4,000 so far since the weekend, and it's only losing to Mission Impossible by $22,000.
Imagine that.
22,000.
15 million budget, limited release.
Yep.
That's the part people are overlooking. Like they think this is in 4,200 theaters like Mission Impossible or Indy 5 or The Little Mermaid. No. It is not. It is not in 4,000 theaters. We need to get it there.
It has increased by 7%. It's now in 3,200 theaters, unlike the 2,600 when it first started.
Woohoo! Like, yay. But it's creeping up, and you love to see this movie having success, because every effing time I see this movie talked about on Twitter, right, it's some jackass calling it a QAnon fantasy, and then 47 million people obliterating that pedophile. Because let's be honest, even if this movie is 100% fictional, even if it's 100% right-wing QAnon J6 denier fantasy, so fucking what? It's a movie about a guy trying to recover kids that are being trafficked. If you're opposed to that, even in a fantasy level, I have a 45 caliber dose of pedophilin waiting for you. That's all that needs to be said about that. If you oppose this movie, there's a strong likelihood you strongly advocated for Cuties on Netflix. I guarantee it. There is a strong correlation between these viewpoints. Strong. And that's concerning. So three cheers for Jim Caviezel and Sound of Freedom and the crew at Angel Studios doing your thing, dude. I hope you guys make 200 million. I hope you get that far. And the movie honestly doesn't show any signs of slowing down. Like, it has legs because word of mouth is so effing positive for this film. It's so authentically raw that I think people are showing up for that, regardless of what their political opinion may be.
Yeah. And I do like how Angel Studios did come to the defense of AMC theaters, who said that they were trying to sabotage the film. And they're like, no, AMC has been one of our biggest supporters in getting this film out. This is completely false. And
dude, talk about that story, because do you know the details behind that? That shit was wild.
It was like they were like cutting the movie off early. They were breaking the
killing
AC.
The AC. Yep, dude, it was crazy.
Now, this might have happened because AC units do burn out, and sometimes the movie theaters. I mean, was AMC trying to stop the Titanic because it broke? That one broke. The actual movie itself broke because it was still film back then.
Real got hot.
Yeah. This is stuff that actually happens. Sometimes things happen. It's not always a conspiracy theory. It's not always someone hiding behind in the shadows. Sometimes things just happen. And AMC is the theater that had it in the most theaters on the most screens.
For the most showings.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I'm glad you pointed that out.
I'm happy that Angel Studios came to the defense of AMC and just squash this. Like, no, this is not true. Stop it.
I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did too, because I remember hearing the initial, once those stories make the rounds on social media, they catch like wildfire. And I was like, son of a bitch, this sounds like something some a-hole left-wing corporate chain would do. And you know what? At the end of the day, maybe in a couple of places, some dipshit 19-year-old Antifa employee of an AMC theater pulled a fire alarm to get people to clear out of a showing. Like you said, shit happens. But do I believe there was a coordinated effort to cock block this movie at the box office? Definitely not. And once I saw the confirmation from Angel Studios, because they would have known, they would have had to have been like on a report list or something, or some kind of communique from a major global theater chain like AMC, who would have been like, listen, we've had this issue in with your theater in 15% of our showings. We're going to pull it. We can't run the risk if there's something going. There would have been some communications there. It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
So for Angel Studios to come right out and actually protect that partnership, because AMC absolutely did not have to run this movie. They are politically left-leaning, so they didn't have to give you airtime. They just did. So there's no sense trying to nail them to the wall. That way, the next project you put out that has a message that needs to be heard, maybe they don't carry that, and then the message doesn't get out.
Yep.
So I got one more before the other writer's strike. Right, one more. So I didn't know that there was a live-action He-Man project in development at Netflix. Did you ever catch any of that?
I did hear rumors of that. I didn't find any traction of it. I never saw anything about it. I just remember they were talking about it. Because we were talking about it brought up the whole Dolph Lundgren He-Man movie
the
from
action.
the 80s, which was really bad.
But I love Frank. What's his name? Frank Langella as Skeletor. Love him.
Yeah.
Don't care. That was an awesome Skeletor. The speech at the end, love it. I love a good villain speech. But did you watch any of the animated Kevin Smith thing that came out last year? It was the Masters of the Universe, the cartoon that came through.
No.
Came out in 2 parts. Okay. So, that ran afoul of woke radar stuff. But there was a bait and switch. We were told it, it absolutely was a show about Prince Adam and He-Man. And of course, he gets put on the shelf and it becomes the Tila show. They thought they'd be slick and divide the season into halves and do the first 6 episodes, take a break, come back, and hopefully tempers cooled off. The numbers fell off the cliff in the second half. Most people didn't come back and watch it. The reason I mentioned the animated, as expected, the reason I bring up the animated segment is because I saw this in conjunction with the live action thing. Now, apparently it's been in development for like 4 years. They've sunk at Netflix something like 20 to 30 million in, but then they got confronted with the reality it's going to cost them like 100 million plus more to finish it. And given their cash problems, they're like, nah, we're going to go ahead and bail on that. And I'm like, okay, so they're bailing on that, but we're also throwing $200 million at Barbie, Mattel's other major thing, because, they're counting on being able to make money back on the merchandise side. And I'm like, if you guys played your cards right and put a good live action He-Man out, you can make billions in toys, like billions of action figures, put them all back, all the cool shit from the 80s that we had. They're just thinking it stinks that it's a missed opportunity. And the only live action we have is the one with mixed reviews that you referenced already, with Dolph and Courtney Cox and Gwildor. Yeah. The Cosmic Key. Yeah, no, and the principal from Back to the Future, was it Lubick? Lubick in the
Did
He-Man
this guy
movie.
ever have hair?
This guy ever had hair? He didn't have hair in Masters Universe either. He's exactly the same dude from Back to the Future 2 with the shotgun on the front steps of his porch. Only this time he's like a police detective. It is fucking wild. But I feel like it's one of those things. How is He-Man just not a no-brainer to make in like a PG-13? A live action, cheesy sword and sandal thing. It doesn't have to be a Star Wars ripoff like the 80s Dolph Lundgren one was. Dude, just go make it. Get some Jack dude, throw him in the outfit, get the sorceress, get Skeletor and Evil Lyn, Man at Arms, Battle Cat. It was invented to sell toys. Like,
yeah.
Do more of that.
That G.I. Joe.
Transformers. Everything. She-Ra, My Little Pony. Anything from 80 to 90 was a commercial.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, they've lost sight of that so much, man. But that I just wanted to mention the He-Man thing, because I think it's kind of, I mean, I'm happy the girls are getting their Barbie. I'll withhold my opinions on that for next week after we can see what the box office looks like. But yeah, I'm just bummed that we're not getting a live action. Even I just wanted to see the attempt. But dude, let's talk. Yeah, go ahead.
I watched one thing that you might be interested in. I watched the live action version of the Dresden Files.
Okay, dude, this is where the wolf's out. Nope. On your own. Dude.
Did you ever watch it?
No, dude. And dude, I didn't watch it. Dude, full total disclosure. I've only been into the Dresden Files maybe 5 or 6 years since my kid was born, give or take, right? But I love the book series. Love it. I'm diehard. I love it, right? Got all the short series compilations, the mainline novels. I've even branched into some of Butcher's other stuff with like the Aeronauts Windlass and the other one,
the Furies of Favor or the Fiery Furies.
Furies of somebody. Yeah, I've read book 1 and 2 of each of those. Dude, the show is so stupid. It's so stupid. Where did you even see it? I didn't think it was around.
It's on Amazon. You can stream it on Amazon if you have Prime with their new Freevee version of it, which it runs ads during it.
It's just a commercial to me, man. I wouldn't care. Dude, how many episodes are there? Did you see ahead how many there are? There 10,
there's
12?
22.
Oh, dude. So yeah, because it's like early mid 90s, right?
It was a Sci-Fi Channel show.
Yeah. But I'm saying, but it's in that time. It's cable. It's linear TV, so it has a full series order. It's not just 8 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's like a normal network order of shows. And I went and looked up the wiki on it, and Jim Butcher came out and said that like the TV shows are not supposed to follow the books. It's not a recreation of the books. If this is what you're expecting, you're going to be sadly disappointed. It's an alternative universe where this could happen for Dresden.
Dude, then even still, what I heard about and remember from the show from back then is that it's hot fucking garbage. I'm sorry. Dude, how much of this did you watch?
The first episode.
What, dude? Scale of 1 to 10, first episode. Like, even accepting that it's an alternate universe and not a correlation to the book.
It was early 2000 cheesy TV sci-fi CGI.
That's not a number. Assuming I like that stuff, what's the number?
I would. I like the actor who played Dresden.
Okay.
He played the father of Laurel in Arrow, the police detective.
I didn't watch enough Arrow to know, but okay, all right.
So I would give it a 4 to 5 out of 10.
I could watch that. I could watch an episode out of morbid curiosity. Who played? Now I know enough about the show to know that they have Murphy. They have his cop friend, the girl.
Yeah.
But she's not short and blonde like the book. She's like an entirely different actress, right?
Yeah, she's like his like Latino.
Okay. So yeah, because I think I remember they blended Murphy and Susan for the show, right? Like the actual girlfriend in his early books. Okay, and Susan was Puerto Rican Dominican, I think.
Yeah.
In the book, they have Bob the Skull, right? But he's a person.
No, he's a ghost that lives in the skull, but he comes into
comes
like
out
full
into
fur.
a person. Okay, yeah. That's cool. That I wouldn't mind as much because in my head I don't always imagine the ghostly mist with the orange light up skull eyes. That's okay. And Bob comes out as a human in some of the books.
Yeah.
Some of the mid to late
and
books.
And then it was his uncle that he killed. He's self-defense to death, as they
his
call
teacher.
it.
Was it still his teacher?
Yeah, his teacher and his uncle. It was
that's what I'm saying. It was a family thing there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's going to be the big bad, like he didn't actually die.
Okay, see, there's a lot of speculation that's how the books are going to go too. That it's been a lie that Justin Dumorn has been dead the entire time, and he might be the head of the Black Council and all that good stuff. There's like a lot of fan head theory, canon kind of stuff on it. I love a good fan every now and then.
Yeah, I think it was the same name, and it's his mother's brother is
right
who it is, because that's where
Which
he got
means
the
it's Ebenezer's son. Interesting. McCoy, his grandfather from the book. Interesting. Dude, I don't know. Did
they ever talk about having ravens, which are like special, like assassin type people?
No.
Okay.
Not that I remember.
So that's in the first. That's the first episode.
That's cool. Now I wonder how much Butcher gave them for like ideas. Like, is that maybe that's an unused Dresden File idea that Jim just never put in any of the books? That's kind of cool.
And there is one episode called Stormfront too.
Okay,
it's like episode 8.
Cool. Dude, you know, I still have a couple seasons of Grimm. I told you I'm watching Grimm. So I like Grimm a lot. Maybe I'll just enjoy that vibe of that time period and just do a throwback to Dresden on Amazon after that and just kind of keep it rolling. I was just telling my dad about that earlier, you know, looking for other shows that aren't Disney and MCU shows where everything's just so. You know, even if Grimm was a mid-level show when it came out in like the mid 2000s into like 2010, it's superior to anything that's on now that we're watching. It's just better produced. The writing's better. The story's more cohesive. There's payoffs. There's through lines. I mean, all those elements are there.
Yeah, it was one of my dad's favorite shows.
Dresden Files or Grimm. Yeah, true. Yeah, so I'll write out Grimm and then I'll take your suggestion for the Dresden Files. I actually just finished. I don't remember what the book title. It's the one where Michael's daughter Molly comes out as like she's got magic too, and she did some black magic on a friend to stop them from using drugs to hurt their baby if they were hurting their baby or whatever. I just finished that one up. Like it's the one where he takes her in as an apprentice at the end. It was pretty cool. I think it might have been proven guilty. I think, but yeah, no, I'm listening to Peace Talks and Battlegrounds. So I'm gonna get my Dresden on. I think I just talked myself into watching your garbage TV show.
It was as I refer to shows I show my wife because a lot of the 80s movies she hasn't seen, so it's like I'm introducing her to her. And I'm like, you're gonna love this show. It's 80s fantastic. So this is early 2000s fantastic.
All right. See, at least it puts a smile on my face just to hear that, because I know exactly the vibe you're talking about with it being a sci-fi channel from that time period. It's got 50 cent a second CGI effects. If it looks like a 5-year-old drew it by hand, it's because a 5-year-old drew it by hand on an early computer, on an early illustration pad or something. But I'll get to that. Dude, let's talk writer strike before we go crazy with our runtime, though, right?
All right. Our number one topic for tonight, as you can see, Spirit Hollywood's already moved in.
Dude, just in time. Dude, do you understand the basics of what's going on with this shit? Do you understand have a working understanding of what each side is looking for? Not
So,
including the actors, just strictly talking the writers now.
so the writers are looking for pretty much their rights to be protected.
Yep.
So writers are probably the redheaded. I don't even want to say redhead
Stepchild.
stepchild anymore,
I'll
but
do it.
yeah, redhead stepchild of the movie world. There's so many times you hear stories of how writers have been replaced. They'll write a script, you're shooting it, they have someone come in and do a rewrite, or the director does a rewrite, and all of a sudden, the they're the writer, and the writer completely loses like his bonus or any other residuals that he's supposed to receive due to it. This is what they're fighting for. Also with streaming services, of them not getting residuals for streaming, because anytime you had a network show go into syndication, they would still get paid every time it came on. With streaming, they don't really track those numbers anymore. It's more of like a one-time lump sum type thing where they're not really getting paid for, which isn't fair because they're losing out on their work. Also, they were talking about like for people who want to become writers, it's becoming even harder for them because they're making writing rooms 1-2 people at all, when most shows would have anywhere from 10 to 11. So it's harder to get that job security, get in there, get that new writer in there, get them into the to what do they say? Get them into the Writers Guild, and then protection, higher paying jobs, stuff like that. So that is what they're fighting for, and then they're also trying to fight for against plagiarism, as well as like a lot of their ideas are being stolen. Which goes into the whole rewrite, also using AI to rewrite in their style. So
AI is the one I was going to bring up. Yeah.
AI is actually a very small issue when it comes to the writers itself, because there are so many tools to hide AI writing now. Like you chat GPT, yeah, they have things where you have anti-chat, but you to take that throw it through Jasper, and then send it through Word, and then boom, it's written and it passes plagiarism test by 98%. And like most things will always ping 98%. I wrote something completely original and it still pinged 98%. For the one that brought up the 2% was, he ran down the hallway.
Right.
Since that is so common that right. it gets pegged in those type of screens.
So what do you think? So you don't think there's validity to the writer's position that AI could replace them completely at the studio level, that they may only need 1 or 2 people to just put studio requirements into something like a chat GPT and say, chat GPT, come up with just even at a basic level, come up with a synopsis for a movie wherein the hero must defeat a giant great white shark.
Yes.
Or some bullshit.
That 100% that's trying to happen. There's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing to do to protect.
So they have an argument then. They're like, we don't want to be replaced by the machine in its entirety, because if you can get that out of ChatGPT, sooner or later it can be trained to put its output into proper screenplay format, and then we just pass the script right along to a crew, and there we go.
And like, I know ChatGPT, because I've tested it out after all this came out, and it will not write in proper stream format. It will not write dialogue. It
won't do it today.
Yeah.
It won't do it right now.
Maybe the paid version, because I'm not paying for it.
And so all the good stuff behind it, like Final Draft is behind a paywall in ChatGPT. Dude, what about but in 5 years? I mean, this stuff's learning at a geometric rate, and it's improving.
There's Elon Musk said it. Was it 2 years ago? There's nothing we're going to be able to do to stop. We're going to have to find new avenues, either become the expert of it and use it as the tool that it is meant to be, and snub the studios. Like, the best way they could fight this, I would say, is that if you are going to use ChatGPT to write, it has to have a human that is inputted, and they get paid as the writer instead of ChatGPT. It cannot be directed by the studio.
Oh, but that might be the thing they're arguing for, right? That it needs to be it needs to be artist generated, and that they're not allowed themselves to use the tech. And I don't see how they ever win that legal battle ever. Like, what judge on what legal precedent could say that a studio is not allowed? I mean, unless the studio agrees to it in contract form and agree to be bound by it and then break that contract, that's one thing.
That would be that's what they're fighting for, is that contract where it's written in there in the collective bargaining agreement between.
And they're never acquiescing to that. There's too much cost saving potential there. I don't see why would the studio ever give that up, ever. Because your strike just proves that we should do this at a very basic level. It's a very anti-human level.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like why wouldn't I do that as a protection against you striking?
But with that said, it should be used as a tool. I mean, with all transparency, I do use ChatGPT with my writing.
Yeah.
I use it to help me name stuff, because I'm horrible at naming stuff. But so I use it to make names. And then I write my story, and then I take what I wrote, put it in there, and have it clean up my grammar, because y'all hear me talk, and I write like I talk.
6th grade level at best with the verbal. Anyway, it has a lot of wild, interesting uses, but it's like, I know Elon says it's we can't stop it. We could pull the plug. We could EMP this. We could John Connor this bitch before it gets out of control.
No, because someone else would just redo it. We live in that era now.
That's true. That's very Mission Impossible. Now that you mentioned that, actually.
Once you open Pandora's box, you can't close it. But you remember, what is the last thing that came out of Pandora's box?
Now I'm gonna be really disappointed if you get this wrong.
It was a bird called Hope.
Hope. I was going to make sure you actually said the word hope. Okay, good. We're on the same page. Good. A lot of people don't know that, which is actually kind of sad that hope was considered one of the curses, which is like, the poetic implication of that. But either which way.
So many people get high on the hopium every year.
That's what I'm saying. I know it's most of them are Disney shareholders right now. It's an all-time low of all 5-year low of like $85. Yeah, dude. So let's talk more content side of the strike now, because this is where you and I are going to come into this. Mostly from what we're trying to do here, build up a little following, talk shows, do reviews and things. So these guys are on strike.
Yep.
The actor strike likely going to be resolved ahead of the writer strike, from what I read. And I don't think they're not going to go hand in hand into the holidays. I don't buy that.
Yeah, and now the writer strike is really AI heavy, because what they're saying is when you sign on to a project, that they have the right to scan you and use an AI version of you anytime they want without paying you, especially background actors,
which is trash.
Which you're paying them once. Now, a background actor normally, for shows that I've worked on here, you get $140 for 12 hours of work. Anything over that, you get time and a half. When you're working on a movie set, it's based off of your day's based off of 12 hours, even though 8 hours is normal pay and the last 4 hours is time and a half, and then anything over 12 hours is double pay. So that's what makes up what they refer to as your day rate, or your 12-hour rate.
Right.
Now, there's plenty of times I've worked 18 hours, 19 hours on a movie set, and I made bank, because you're getting all that overtime. Yeah. And some of these unions, like the DGA, like their overtime rate, like for union standards, is they're paid for 12. Anything over 12, from 12 to 16 is double time. Anything over 16, they make their day rate per hour.
What?
Yeah.
Can we get a say what meme in here somewhere? We're gonna have to have one of them chambers so I can do like the Pikachu thing. Like, what? That's crazy. So we got one more point.
So a lot of people use background to either launch into acting, or they have, like here in Atlanta, you can make a pretty decent living on background. There's so much stuff filmed. You're pretty much booked every day. Like, they run out of people to be in background, because it's like, we need new faces, because, well, you were a patient last week on this show about doctors. You can't be the dude riding the bike next to the doctor in this one.
Right. True. Dude, I heard one of the wildest things about one of the demands coming out of, it must be the studio side. Actually, no, it must be I don't remember what side it was, but it was something about the state of California wanted to restrict no, it must be the studios in Hollywood that they wanted all movie productions to only be able to be done in California or some bullshit. And I immediately thought of Atlanta, and I'm like, yeah, right. Let them say some shit like that, and more people will go to Atlanta to shoot for a lower cost of doing business down south and out west.
They
That
can't.
I don't remember which side that was. That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, and California or anywhere else can't compete with the Georgia tax incentive.
Yeah, not even close.
So I mean, it's a 36% tax break that they did here, which the like I know a little bit of how this works. Someone gave like a 5-minute spiel on how the actual tax break works. But the main points of it is you have to film 100% of your production in Georgia, and you get this percentage of what you spend on taxes back. Now there's also a marketplace for these percentages. Like they can sell them off like stock. Like say I have my 32%, and Coach like, well, we'll give you another 50 million towards your production if you give us 15% of that tax break. So they'll sell them 15% of that tax break. They'll get 50 million up front that they can push right back into production.
Dude, see, so there's reasons to not go to California, because even if California's percentage was higher at base, like say it was 45, the cost of everything out there covers your spread anyway. It just drives down the value of your money. It's why pro athletes go to South Beach so much, besides the nightlife in Florida. When you have no state income tax, or if you go to Texas and it's only whatever it is compared to New York or Hawaii or California, you keep more of the lower amount of money you'd make. It comes up in sports too. It's not just Hollywood.
Yeah.
But so what do you think this means for channels of all sizes going forward? Dude, the next 6 months gonna be rough. I mean, how many things that we were gonna watch are delayed? Like, not that we were looking forward to like a Ms. Marvel season 2 or She-Hulk season 2 or whatever. We have Ahsoka because that was in the can. But I mean, we're gonna miss out on some things we kind of wanted to watch, like Stranger Things is gonna be a non-issue for a while. What else are the big dogs that we're missing that you know about?
Deadpool 3 is on an indefinite hiatus.
That's the one you were talking about.
So they walked off the set for that.
Yep.
We're going to see a huge impact. Now there are the union is issuing out exemptions to the strike right now as well. Like
I've seen that.
The Chosen has an exemption to continue shooting, which is a TV series about following the life of Jesus.
Okay.
And it's actually there's the stories of these are just amazing behind the shooting of this, and like how much they're getting right on the show. I could talk for hours on The Chosen. It's a really great show. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you're seeking and you're not a believer, go ahead and watch it. Then come talk to somebody. We'll gladly share the gospel with you.
There you go. But we're missing out on other things, not just like just on the typical Hollywood fare that we cover. Wednesday season 2 probably impacted by this, I would imagine, because there's no way that had been done and in the can. There's Stranger Things, we have Deadpool, a lot of the MCU shows, Daredevil Born Again. Were we talking about that? That's on hold. Blade definitely non-issue right now. We are getting Loki 2, because that's been done, so that'll be, I don't know when the release date for Loki season 2 is, but that's a thing that's going to come through.
Let's see.
Yeah, dude, it's hitting brakes on a lot of things.
Yeah, the big ones that I'm seeing in this article right here that's up is Stranger Things. So I think they might just scrap Stranger Things. Like there won't be a final season, because by the time they finish it, these guys are going to be on Social Security. They won't be high school kids anymore.
Oh, dude, that's a ballsy play. Just in loving to invite the backlash. Loving to invite the backlash.
Yellow Jackets. That one.
That's I'm familiar with that.
Season 6 of Cobra Kai.
Okay, that hurts. Because that's supposed to be their final season, also season 6. That's supposed to be their wrap.
Season 2 of The Last of Us.
No sleep lost here, but that's a big one for a lot of people. Yep.
Season 6 of The Handmaid's Tale.
That's another final season, if I'm not mistaken. That's a big one.
Abbott Elementary, which is a pretty funny series. If you haven't watched it, you should go check that out.
I haven't, but I heard it's pretty funny. Yep. That's a good cross section of things, because that hits a lot of the Yellow Jackets is like a young adult dystopian thing. Last of Us is obviously, video game put on the screen, critical acclaim. Lots of people love it. Stranger Things was a Netflix sensation since the minute it came out. The Marvel stuff, mixed interest and levels of enthusiasm there. But what are we looking at for movies getting bumped back now too? How does this impact the James Gunn DCU? Like, none of those things have been fine. I mean, he's writing Superman Legacy. They just recently announced the actors playing Lois and Clark. That can't be done.
So he
not
can't writing it anymore, but he can still work on production stuff like getting locations locked in.
He's not the lead writer for Legacy, really? I thought he was.
He's just not allowed to write on it anymore.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Not allowed to. That's what I mean. So he can still do some other grunt work for himself and look into those things, like you said, like setting. But they need at the end of the day, dude, they need a script or they can't make shit. So how does this impact the DCU, or do they just actually pick up the calendar, cut, copy, and paste the 2 pages over and Outlook, and then just start everything up in 2024? Because I don't see that the writers' shit's not done presumably anytime soon.
So they're
going to get starved out, I think.
The last writer strike went 100 days in the 2007, 2008. And
what day are we on
remember
now?
What happened that
TV sucked for a long time.
Seems like 45.
We're halfway there.
Yeah, it's been over a month that they've been on
We're halfway there.
And then
so another 45 days doesn't even get us to Christmas, doesn't even get us to the holidays.
Yeah.
Yikes.
What was really going to hurt is network TV, because you're not going to have a new set of lineup shows. We're going to get so many stuff that doesn't require writers, like reality shows.
Oh, dude, that's what happened last time.
They're bringing Big Brother back out of the mothballs. They're bringing Survivor back out of the mothballs.
Dude, listen, do you have the Winter Wolf's Den supply catalog in front of you? I'm going to need you to order an extra large box of rusty nails. I just want to smash it into my face all at once.
So
reality TV is the worst, dude. The worst.
A couple shows that are not going to be impacted is House of the Dragon, because they finished. They finished.
And it's a British show, and that's an important distinction. My understanding is British actors and writers have their own guild setups and contractual agreements. British shows can still be made.
A lot of them are honoring the SAG and writers' strike.
Doing the solidarity bit.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Lord of the Rings: Ring of Power has already finished filming season 2.
Don't care. Fuck that show. Don't care.
Andor is moving on with filming, even though Tony Gilroy is not on set anymore in solidarity with the strike.
So explain to me as a crew guy how that works. If the scripts are done and he fucks off as the showrunner, the directors aren't on strike, so they can shoot what they have written. But what if they need rewrites right now?
There will
for episode
be no
9.
rewritings.
So why couldn't anything in American production, assuming the actors hadn't gone on strike yet, American shows could still be made with scripts as is?
Yes.
And they just could be made without the rewrite? Okay.
You couldn't
I think maybe I misunderstood that.
You couldn't rewrite or nothing new be written. You can't ad-lib.
That was the hang up, because I was thinking of Deadpool. It was like, you have the script, but you can't change a single effing word in it for any reason, because that counts as a rewrite.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Including
True.
Other blockbusters should see production delays, including Ghostbusters, The Lion King, Avatar 3 and 4, Gladiator 2, Juror Number 2, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Yep. I think that's a laundry list of things that you said. I think that the biggest impact going to come from the kind of the linear networks on TV, where they always have a fall lineup, where there's 47 trillion pilots that get tossed out there so they can test what they're going to put in the series order for. But we're going to see it. There's going to be a lot of garbage.
But you're only going to see like one episode of those, because they usually only shoot the pilot until they run the test and before they order a whole season to be produced.
Right, but wouldn't they have had? They wouldn't have had. Oh yeah, you're right. I had that backwards in my head. You're right. Never mind. Scratch that idea. Right, you sorted that.
But what
should have a sounding board.
What you might get is people like me who write a series. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Guild. I get a couple of my friends who are not SAG, and we go shoot something, and then I can sell it, because they're gonna be
love
like,
to go down there and get in on that. I probably should relocate for a summer and get some of that done.
Yeah. So we will see.
Now's the time, creatives. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Like if you got a book, a graphic novel, if you got a series idea, work on it, get some feedback, get it, professionally edited, critiqued, all that good stuff. Because when these jackasses come back around, they're going to be hungry for properties. That's for damn sure.
They'll
They're
be
going to
hungry
need
for
new
properties
content.
before this all
Yep.
blows over. They're gonna be hungry soon
Yeah,
because,
true. He's going to want to get it ready to roll.
yep.
Yeah, true that. Dude, the only other thing I really had to say about the strike situation, just at a global level, is it's always wild to me when you look online and in comment sections about strikes, whether it be sports or whether it be entertainment, people are like, who cares? Bigger fish to fry. I'm like, no, see, there's not really bigger fish to fry, because when the NFL shuts down for a strike, it's not just millionaire athletes that don't get paid. It's the guy that sells the T-shirts in the building. It's the guy that sells the T-shirts outside the building. It's the waitress at the bar that you would have went to with your buddies and run up a $500 tab that's not getting tipped out because her hours are cut. So there's a very real trickle down effect that comes from labor stoppages for these big kind of things. So the folks like King Z, who work on sound crews, lighting crews, craft services, costume design, like a lot of these people are probably not getting hired to do new things because there are no new things that are going to be made. And
Yes.
that's a problem. So, the next time you think about dumping that comment on there about, bigger fish to fry or who cares, I don't know, dude, if it was your dad or your uncle or your brother or your son or your daughter that was working in any of those capacities that aren't in front of the camera and making the most money, they probably care. I'm just throwing that out there. I just figured I'd mention that at least. So I
Yeah.
know I do this cynical thing on the show a lot, but I figured, the Grinch's heart grows 3 times every now and again. That'd be one of them time for them folks.
Yeah, like my sister-in-law, she works in the film industry as a grip. I mean, if you really look at how much we actually make by working on set, we're not millionaires. We're not
Right.
actors. We're not making that type of money. I don't know how much money you think we make. I mean, we get paid nicely, especially on bigger
Right.
budget, bigger the paycheck. I mean, that's just how it works. But you have to think, like, most movies I've worked on, we are done in 3 or 4 weeks. So after that fourth
Right.
week, those paychecks stop.
Right. It's
We
not
have
it's
to
not a
we have to
52-week
get on.
employment situation.
We have to go and hustle and find another job,
Right.
another project to get on, and that one might pay less. So you have to adjust for what you're going to be on. Now, there are a lot of crews that work together, and when they move on to one project, they bring the same people with them, so it's easier when you start networking. But
Right. That's not everybody's experience by a stretch, though.
no, yeah, I'll be completely honest. Like the last movie I worked on, I was the third person on the electrical crew, so I was a set light tech was my job description, and
Yeah.
I was making $250 a day. That was for an 18-day shoot. So 18 days, I made $250 a day.
Right.
I
Day
have
19, I made $0 a day.
I have not worked on a set since.
Right. And when was that again? Refresh my memory.
I wrapped that movie in March.
Yeah, I thought it was somewhere in the spring, early spring.
Yeah, it was March 14th actually was the day we wrapped that movie.
True. I remember.
So that was the last day I got paid for working on set. So
yeah, that's wild.
keep that in mind.
And just I'm saying, and a lot of folks, that are between gigs that are operating on that level that aren't A-list actors, even B-list or C, or whatever. If you're not in front of the camera, right? A lot of folks you dip out of those production jobs and you go back to doing the other stuff you were doing as your side hustles at the time or the other work you used to do. A lot of folks going back to tending bar and doing all those kind of things to get by and pay bills. But if the whole industry is down and there's no money changing hands, there are no service side jobs to go do. It's harder. It's harder just you can't just transition into making the same money the next place over all the time. I mean, sometimes you can. If you're good at tending bar, you're good at doing whatever. You have a better shot, of course. So that's true of anything. If you're more skilled, you're more skilled. Yeah, sometimes as cynical as I can be, the insensitivity really sometimes just annoys me because it's really easy to sit at the fucking keyboard and be like, who cares? Bigger fish to fry. Trump sucks, Biden sucks, Ukraine. It's a bigger fish to fry. Yeah, but dude, someone's not paying their fucking mortgage. That's a pretty fucking big fish for them to fry. You know what I'm saying? That's just how that is. Just chill out with the we don't care stuff. It makes you look like a jackass. But dude, I think we covered all our bases here today. We went long. We covered some details. We had some highs and lows with aliens, and then with shitty Snow White. We talked some middle stuff, Baldur's Gate. We got some gaming in there. Dude, I am quite pleased with the topics we covered today, because honestly, I thought it was a slow news week and thought we were going to be up against it, but we actually went kind of long.
Yeah, we went long. With the writer's strike, we just sit there and cover so many different things with the writer's strike.
Yeah.
We even talked about Sarah Silverson's her lawsuit to sue OpenAI for plagiarism right now.
Who's doing this?
Sarah Silverman.
Oh, no shit. I'll have to look into it. I didn't know.
Yeah, I just saw it today too when I was pumping gas. You know how they do news articles while you're pumping gas.
If you find an article, throw it to the chat, because I'd like, I'm way behind you on the chat GPT and the AI stuff. So that sounds really interesting, because she's high profile. If she has a suit in there, it's going to catch some eyeballs on the case for sure.
And if you're wondering how much $250 a day is, that's $16.52 an hour on the movie set.
Which is nice when you're getting it and getting craft services and some other stuff, and maybe a fat little transportation bonus and some other perks and whatnot. But really, it's it's foundational, and usually requires folks to hustle their asses off on the side.
Yep.
Let's be honest, that's just how that is. Dude, can we get one more please like and subscribe wee thing while we're talking, because I've had a blast chatting with you as usual. It's always fun talking topics. Just do that. I'll just tell them, guys, if you enjoyed, just hearing us chit chat and blab, consider hitting the like button, comment below. I'm more interested in the comments and the discussion than I am subscribers. I'm not paying any bills with the channel here yet, but it's mostly so King Z and I get to reconnect, because we go back a long way. Maybe you can tell in our back and forth, we kind of know each other, have some history there. So we like to talk nerd stuff. We get a little political every now and again. We know it's not everybody's cup of tea. We try to keep it, a little basic and, kind of grounded. But, we're down for the sci-fi topics. If you want to suggest stuff you want us to break down and analyze, if you have show or movie suggestions, I'm for it. I will credit King Z, who had a banger of an idea the other week that we haven't talked about again since. Minute movie reviews. Guys, I think this is going to be a thing, especially if this shit goes on hold and there's not a lot of stuff we're up to do in late summer into the fall after Ahsoka. Dude, King Z and I might be dropping a lot of, solo content, quick format stuff, not technically shorts, because I think you wanted to do it on the YouTube side, on the full video side, but themed for like minute or so long reviews of feature length things. I'm probably going to dip deep into like really shitty horror franchises that I just really like growing up. I'll probably be doing things like Friday the 13th and Children of the Corn, just because I love stupid shit like that. King Z probably could go a couple other directions, or he'd go the same. I wouldn't argue. Yeah. But we're probably gonna do some stuff like that for sure.
Yeah, the idea is 1 minute, one take movie reviews. So
yes.
In 1 minute, we try to review and recap the whole entire movie in one take. So all stuttering and mess up and see if we can actually get it.
And we're really good at those. Dude, King Z couldn't tell somebody's name straight to save his life at gunpoint, and God knows I can talk 400 words a minute and just trip over my tongue all 400 meters of that bullshit. But guys, we appreciate you stopping by. We're going to get the hell out of here because it's getting late. King Z, say goodbye to everybody, and dude, get us the hell out of here. Show me that spotlight.
Goodbye, everybody.